Hello, children. Do you know how we people came to Earth? Or how a human is formed in history and from what? The scientist who discovered answers to all such questions is Charles Darwin. Let us know the answers to these interesting questions in this video. Charles Robert Darwin, born on February 12, 1809, and died on April 19, 1882, was an English naturalist, geologist, and biologist widely known for his contributions to evolutionary biology. His discovery that all species of life have descended from a common ancestor is now generally accepted and considered a fundamental concept in science. Darwin has been described as one of the most important figures in human history. Darwin was born in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, on February the 12th, 1809, at his family's home, the Mount. He was the fifth of 6 children of wealthy doctor and financier Robert Darwin and Susanna Darwin. The 8-year-old Charles already had a taste for natural history and collecting when he joined the day school in 1817. From September 1818, he joined his older brother Erasmus in attending the nearby Anglican Shrewsbury School as a boarder. Later, Darwin went to the well-regarded University of Edinburgh Medical School with his brother Erasmus in October 1825. Darwin found lectures dull and surgery distressing, so he neglected his studies. In Darwin's second year at the university, he assisted Robert Edmund Grant's investigations of the anatomy and life cycle of marine invertebrates in the Firth of Forth. Slowly, Darwin was bored by Robert Jamieson's natural history course, which covered geology, including the debate between Neptunism and Plutonism. He learned the classification of plants and assisted with work on the collections of the University Museum, one of the largest museums in Europe at the time. Darwin started on a voyage, which began on December 2007, 1831, and lasted almost 5 years. As Fitzroy had intended, Darwin spent most of that time on land investigating geology and making natural history collections. Despite suffering badly from seasickness, Darwin wrote important notes while on the ship. Most of his zoology notes are about marine invertebrates, starting with plankton, collected during the journey. The survey continued to the south in Patagonia. They stopped at Baja Blanca and in cliffs near Punta Alta. Darwin made a major find of fossil bones of huge extinct mammals beside modern seashells, indicating recent extinction, with no signs of change in climate or catastrophe. Further south, he saw stepped plains of shingle and seashells as raised beaches. At a series of elevations, he read Lyell's second volume and accepted its view of centers of creation of species. Darwin experienced an earthquake in Chile in 1835 and saw signs that the land had just been raised, including mussel beds stranded above high tide. High in the Andes, he saw seashells and several fossil trees that had grown on a sand beach. He observed and concluded that as the land rose, oceanic islands sank, and coral reefs around them grew to form atolls. In mid-December, Darwin stayed in Cambridge to arrange expert classification of his collections and prepare his research for publication. Early in March, Darwin moved to London to be near this work, joining Lyell's social circle of scientists and experts such as Charles Babbage, who described God as a programmer of laws. During his investigation of different plants and animals, Darwin arrived at a suspected theory in his red notebook on the possibility that one species does change into another. It is to explain the geographical distribution of living species such as the rheas and extinct ones, such as the strange extinct mammal Macrochenia. Further, he noted its findings that human population, when unchecked, goes on doubling itself every 25 years or increases in a geometrical ratio, a geometric progression, so that population soon exceeds food supply in what is known as a Malthusian catastrophe. Children, we should think about it and use the food carefully and shouldn't waste it at all. After some time, he returned to Mare and proposed to Emma, his longtime friend, once more telling her his ideas. On 29 January, Darwin and Emma Wedgwood were married at Mare in an Anglican ceremony arranged to suit the Unitarians, then immediately caught the train to London to their new home. Darwin now had the framework of his theory of natural selection, by which to work as his prime hobby. His research included extensive experimental selection breeding of plants and animals, finding evidence that species were not fixed, and investigating many detailed ideas to refine and confirm his theory. Darwin's book, The Structure and Distribution of Coral Reefs, on his theory of atoll formation, was published in May 1842, after more than 3 years of work, and he then wrote his first pencil sketch of his theory of natural selection. By the start of 1856, Darwin was investigating whether eggs and seeds could survive, travel across seawater to spread species across oceans. Hooker increasingly doubted the traditional view that species were fixed, but their young friend, Thomas Henry Huxley, was still firmly against the transmutation of species. On September 5, 1857, Darwin sent the American botanist Asa Gray a detailed outline of his ideas, including an abstract of natural selection, which questioned and strongly omitted human origins. The Origin of Species is a great work by Charles Darwin, proposing the theory of evolution through natural selection. It outlines the processes by which species change over time based on variations in their physical and behavioral characteristics. On the Origin of Species proved unexpectedly popular, with the entire stock of 1,250 copies oversubscribed when it went on sale to booksellers on November 22, 1859. In the book, Darwin set out one long argument of detailed observations, inferences, and consideration of expected objections. In making the case for common descent, he included evidence of homologies between humans and other mammals. The Origin of Species is Charles Darwin's magnum opus. These blinks outline a theory of how traits are selected by nature, where the tremendous diversity of life on Earth came from, and how animals and plants came to be distributed across the planet. It is a groundbreaking work that revolutionized our understanding of the natural world. Here's why this book is worth reading. It presents compelling evidence for the theory of evolution and explains how species adapt to their environments over time. With its thorough examination of the diversity and interconnectedness of life on Earth, it offers a comprehensive perspective on the complexity of nature. His theory is stated in his book: as many more individuals of each species are born than can possibly survive, and as, consequently, there is a frequently recurring struggle for existence. It follows that any being, if it varies however slightly, in any manner profitable to itself, under the complex and sometimes varying conditions of life, will have a better chance of surviving, and thus being naturally selected. From the strong principle of inheritance, any selected variety will tend to propagate its new and modified form. Darwin first used the word evolution in The Descent of Man in 1871, before adding it in 1872 to the 6th edition of The Origin of Species. The first review asked, "If a monkey has become a man, what may not a man become?" Try to find answer for this interesting question on internet, you will get it. Even Darwin's close friends Gray, Hooker, Huxley, and Lyell still expressed various reservations, but gave strong support, as did many others, particularly younger naturalists. By the end of the decade, most scientists agreed that evolution occurred, but only a minority supported Darwin's view that the chief mechanism was natural selection. Darwin set out evidence from numerous sources that humans are animals, showing continuity of physical and mental attributes. In 1882, he was diagnosed with what was called angina pectoris, which then meant coronary thrombosis and disease of the heart. He died at Down House on April 19, 1882. He was buried, with the help of William Spottiswoode, president of the Royal Society, as an honor to Darwin, close to John Herschel and Isaac Newton. In his memory, geographical features given his name include Darwin Sound and Mount Darwin, both named while he was on the Beagle voyage. Darwin Harbor, named by his former shipmates on its next voyage, which eventually became the location of Darwin, the capital city of Australia's Northern Territory. Darwin's name was given, formally or informally, to numerous plants and animals, including many he had collected on the voyage. The Linnean Society of London began awards of the Darwin-Wallace Medal in 1908 to mark 50 years from the joint reading, on July 1, 1858, of papers by Darwin and Wallace. From 2000s to 2017, UK £10 banknotes issued by the Bank of England featured Darwin's portrait, printed on the reverse. along with hummingbird and HMS Beagle. That's the amazing story of naturalogist Charles Darwin, the thinking scientist who investigated the history of biology to find the secrets of the evolution of humans and inspired young people around the world. So, if you could ask Charles Darwin one question, what would it be? The secrets of the butterflies, or maybe how apes slowly changed into humans? Let us know in the comments below, and if you learned something from the video, then please like, share and subscribe for more such videos on the lives of great personalities of the world.